Hello everybody and welcome to another video with Ryan Mirza. We got a lot to cover this week, so let's just dive right into it. So it was a wild and really, I mean, we always seem to reach a new low, but really disappointing week in the world of presidential politics. Donald Trump encouraged women of color in Congress, duly elected members of Congress, Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or AOC, and Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib to go back to the crime-infested countries from which they came. These are 3 out of 4 of them are from the United States, were born in the United States, so not even factual. And the other one has been a citizen for the past 2 decades. So, you know, that is what that is. And you know, what this has really done is it's taken a lot of people who were previously on the fence, didn't really know if they felt squishy about calling the president a racist, and it's kind of taken them off the fence, and it's made people recognize, damn. Telling people of color to go back to the country from which you came, America, like it or leave it, that is textbook definition of racism, okay? And everybody knows that. Now, if you're someone like myself, who has been following the actions of this man ever since he came down the escalator in 2015, and called Mexicans rapists and murderers, this is not a surprise. You know, it's obvious. This is very fitting for who he is this whole time. I mean, he said Barack Obama, the first black president, wasn't born here. That's how he burst onto the political scene. So it's not surprising to people like me who follow politics every day, but that's not everybody, and I recognize that. So that's why I'm here, you know, drawing your attention to the issues that are so important to where we're at as a nation, you know. And I think it's also really important to say it is very obvious that this is going to be Donald Trump and his supporters and his campaign's plan for 2020, to be as divisive, as racist, as incendiary as possible. So what's our plan to beat him? That's a good question, right? I think there's 5 keys. 1, facts. The facts are on our side. You'll notice when you call Donald Trump a racist for racist things that he's said or done, he and his supporters will freak out with righteous indignation because the facts piss them off. It's true, okay? 2nd, restraint. And this is a tough one, and it follows from the facts. We have to stick to the facts because the facts are enough. But it's hard. It's really hard. Because when they go where they go with their attacks, it's hard not to attack back in a way that's just as harsh, just as mean, just as trashy. We have to stay away from that. We have to keep the moral high ground because we do have it, okay? We really do. That's a fact. 3, humor, okay? The worst thing for an authoritarian, and you can look at this throughout history, you know, is humor. In Egypt, when the authoritarian ruler was taking over, they took down comedians that were satirical and put them in prison. You know, they do not want us poking the bear and pointing out the funny parts of Donald Trump. You know, from his fake hair to his obviously spray tan skin to his feeding champions of sport in our country, McDonald's, to pointing that out. They don't want that, you know. So you got to be able to keep your sense of humor. Even in these dark times, you got to still be able to laugh when things are funny, okay? 4, courage. You know, getting into these conversations, talking about these things is key. But it's not easy, okay? And it's obvious. It's not easy for the average person, but it's so important that we all can have this conversation, that we're all not afraid to go there, and we're not afraid to have a tough conversation about a difficult subject in a way that keeps the 4 other keys intact, okay? That's tough. And to have the courage to do that is what we need. And lastly, love. Love for ourselves, love for our country, and love for our country, that encompasses love for Trump's supporters. And you may hear that, and you may curl your toes. If you're watching this far into the video, you're probably an avid watcher, and you're probably thinking, Ryan, what are you talking about? I'm going to tell you right now. We're fighting for a more diverse, more equitable, more just country for everyone in this country. That's the only way it's going to work in the long run, okay? And while Trump supporters may not understand it now, a more diverse country, a more just country, a more equitable country is better for everyone involved. It's not better just for us, it's better for them as well, okay? And it's important that we remember that, okay? They're still part of our country. We still have to love our country. We have to do that. So again, facts, restraint, humor, love, okay, and courage. I think they were out of order a little bit, but you get the point, okay? Those have been in my Instagram bio for a little bit. You may have been wondering what that meant. That's what it means, okay? And then another thing, I'm going to shift gears for a little bit here because, and I'll tell you why. Because when we talk about this kind of stuff, when we talk about politics and a very, very divisive, ignorant, and racist president, it can get depressing, okay? It can. Let's be honest. And so we have to stay positive. Because guess what? This isn't going to get, the rhetoric from our president, the rhetoric from that side, is not going to get better. It's going to get worse, just as it did in the lead up to 2016 and the lead up to 2018. Okay? So we have to stay positive. Okay? As Harvey Dent said in The Dark Knight, which Harvey ended up flipping over, unfortunately, but due to some extreme tragedy, if you've watched The Dark Knight, you know, the night is darkest before the dawn. And it's not, again, it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. So that's why positivity and optimism, like my man Gary Vee says, are so, so, so important. So lastly, I want to talk here about a couple really inspiring men and their stories, you know, in the sports world that we can look at their stories for inspiration and positivity, people who just kept on fighting, kept fighting the good fight. Let's look at James Conner. You know, this is a running back for the University of Pittsburgh and now the Pittsburgh Steelers who was told in 2015 that he had weeks to live, not months, not years, weeks. And did he take his ball and go home? Did he get pessimistic? No. That man kept fighting. He kept hope. He kept optimism. And where's he at now? He is the premier running back for one of the premier franchises in the NFL, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Last year, he made the Pro Bowl, which is like the all-star game, in his first full season as the Steelers lead back. That is an amazing accomplishment for someone who just a few years ago was told he had weeks to live due to cancer diagnosis. And lastly, let's touch on LeBron James. You might have heard of him. This man was given, at 18, everything. Fame, riches. He was given $420,000 a week. I know what I would have done at 18 if I had $420,000 a week. I don't know about you, but I definitely would not have just kept my nose to the grindstone and kept on working hard at 18. That just is not who I was, okay? And I feel like many of you are probably the same way. Look, LeBron kept his head down. He married his high school sweetheart. He worked hard for 16 years. And he won 3 championships. He is now making $2 million per week, okay? He has a lifetime contract with Nike. He's sent, off the court, he's sent 1,100 kids to college, paid for their entire tuition. And that's who this man is, okay? That's who we all can be if we aspire to be better, if we keep the optimism, if we keep the faith, if we stay positive. I know this week's video was pretty long. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.